Joe Rogan has just disclosed that he has tested positive for coronavirus. In fact, he disclosed it in an Instagram video. Let's hear what he had to say.
Got tested, and turns out I got COVID. So we immediately threw the kitchen sink at it. All kinds of meds, monoclonal antibodies, ivermectin, Z-Pak, prednisone, everything.
Cool. I thought that he had gotten vaccinated, but to be clear, there's no confirmation that he has. I don't know why I thought he had gotten vaccinated.
I thought he had too.
Right. I guess I assumed that he wasn't a complete lost cause, but I'm wrong. Instead, he opted to self-medicate with roundworm medication.
Among other things.
If he's got roundworm, if he's got tapeworm, don't worry, your intestinal tract will be A-okay with that ivermectin.
You can pick that stuff up in public gyms. Yeah, so I thought he had, I think he said something about how it was gonna be made available via the UFC, and then like he sort of backtracked, probably after getting a horrible response from his fan base, I assume. And so, look, some of the stuff he was talking about there is actual medicine. He was talking about, I think he was referring there to Regeneron, which is incredibly expensive. Most of his viewers wouldn't be able to afford it, but that's actually a treatment that has been demonstrated to help if you get COVID. It's no reason not to get the vaccine. You should definitely get the vaccine, but that's actual medicine. And then he took other stuff too that has not been shown to actually help. And so he's taken actual medicine and not medicine. We will see what narrative comes out of this experience.
You know, there have been cases of people who took high doses of ivermectin because they were unfortunately misled by people who have influence in society. And they were essentially defecating the lining of their intestines and thought that they actually ended up like, oh no, it turns out I did have some sort of parasitic infection. No, it's not, they're not worms. It was the lining of your intestines. Some people are crapping themselves, possibly to death, okay, because of this disinformation. And in the case of Joe Rogan, like I don't think, look, Joe Rogan clearly has been misled himself, right? So I don't wanna like, I don't put him in the same category as people who are intentionally lying to people because they're making money off of it. And to be sure, there are people making money off of essentially pushing ivermectin, even though it has not been proven as a treatment for a viral infection. It has been proven as a treatment for a parasitic infection. I don't know, maybe Rogan was just trying to subtly disclose that he has other issues going on, but I doubt it. But America's Frontline Doctors, this organization that's been pushing ivermectin, they're hucksters. And by the way, Rogan likes to research, so research them. What they're doing is pushing ivermectin. Then Americans go to their website looking to get a prescription for it. And what they do is they redirect Americans to a different telemedicine website that charges a fee of $60, right? To see a doctor through telemedicine and to get a prescription. The thing is though, America's Frontline Doctors charge a fee of $90 before they redirect people.
Jeez.
So they're making $30, they're pocketing $30 off this grift every single time someone is misled into going to their website in the search of ivermectin, which is not a treatment or a preventative measure for COVID.
Yeah, okay, well, so that's, obviously underhanded. At least they're getting a human prescription for it, rather than taking the sheep thing and cutting off little bits and eating it. Or I read posts where they're starting to rub it into their armpits now, which I guess is preferable to eating it. So that's fine. Yeah, and by the way, so this group that you're referencing, they're sort of directly making money off of pushing ivermectin. Now, we referenced other people making money off of it. How? They're not selling ivermectin on their website, but what they are selling is a get out of critical thought free card to their audience. If you're trying to appeal to a lizard-brained right-wing audience, telling them, just get the vaccine, you idiot. It's not sheep meds that you need, they're gone. So whatever, influence, reach, views, revenue, whatever they would bring, that is a no for them. They're gonna be done. And so it's scary, I guess, to tell people responsible medical information when audiences can be so flighty around that stuff. But by the way, I will say for him, I'm not particularly invested in Joe Rogan. I try to avoid thinking about it, but I hope that he gets through with a very easy case. More importantly, I hope that he doesn't expose anyone else to COVID. And more importantly than that, I hope that after he gets over this, which he almost certainly will, he comes out of it with some sort of renewed sense of the need to be responsible about this. That he doesn't come out telling people that, like, sure, I took the really expensive Dr. Johnny Bananas monkey meds and ivermectin. It was probably the ivermectin that saved me, not the $1,500 a dose monoclonal antibodies that they cooked up in some underground lab. Like, just be responsible. Like, first of all, tell them, don't go through what I went through because you definitely can't afford the special monkey meds I got, so get the vaccine, which is free. But if you're gonna get it, don't rely on the essing out your intestine stuff.
Yep.
So we'll see.
Defecate.
I don't have high hopes.
Yeah, defecating. That's the classy way of saying crapping.
That's true. Well, you managed to do both.
Yeah.
So anyway, I am hoping against hope and likely against reason that that's what he ends up doing.
All right, we'll see. I mean, look, I think that I see Joe Rogan, I've never said this publicly, I'm gonna say it for the first time publicly, and he'll probably hate me for this, but it is what it is. I see him as like an impressionable child. So it depends on who he's talking to on his podcast on any given day. The unfortunate fact is he's been having more and more right-wingers and kooks on his show. And for an impressionable person, he ends up getting more and more like propagandized to their garbage, right? And so I feel like Rogan, I'm not saying there are no redeeming qualities. Like, he has had these rants on his show that are fantastic, where there's some clarity in what he has to say. Yes, you should hear, there was this one segment he did, as if it's a news show, but there was this one rant he went on regarding Trump's anti-immigration policies, blew my mind. I was like, wait, this is Rogan? Okay. And it's like, those moments of clarity are fantastic. So I don't think he's a bad person. That's not where I'm coming from. But I do think he's impressionable. And so when he has right-wing kooks like Jimmy Dore on, who's like, I got stiff neck from the vaccine, and that's like that's the quality of guests he has on his program, you're gonna end up being a kook just like he is. Well, like Jimmy Dore, who's been so open and transparent about his like spinal issue, all of a sudden is blaming his stiff neck on the vaccine. I don't know, man. It could have something to do with your long-standing health issues that are not related to the vaccine. But I don't know. Jimmy Dore, we all know about how well-read and intelligent the guy is. Freaking clown.
Well, I'm not a doctor, as has been clear, but in terms of the impressionability, like that, obviously his audience likes it. That's a benefit for the show. It's one of the reasons he's the most popular person on the planet, basically. But the issue is that he's been doing the show for like how many years? Years and years and years, right? And he interviews lots of interesting people, tons of them. So shouldn't that sort of accumulate? Like all the impressions you've gotten, the knowledge, the exposure to new viewpoints, shouldn't that start to accrue into something? There used like to be a worldview?
There used to be, in my opinion, as someone who did listen to his podcast regularly, there used to be a diversity of guests.
Yeah.
And that, for some reason, in recent years, has been thrown out the window. Every once in a while, he will have a guest on who's a little different from like the conspiracy theorist kooks, a little different from the Brett Weinsteins, a little different from the Ben Shapiros, a little different from the Jimmy Dores and all the other cranks
like an Elon
out
Musk?
There. Like even, look, honestly, I'm not a huge fan of Elon Musk, but that conversation's far more interesting than the, 80th conspiracy theorist he's gonna have on, who's gonna like caution people against a vaccine that, by the way, is literally saving people's lives as we speak, that has approval from the FDA at this point, the Pfizer vaccine. Like it's just, he's not a dumb guy. That's the thing about Rogan, he's not dumb. He's just impressionable, and I would just encourage him to go back to diversifying the type of guests he has on his show. Because lately it's been more and more of the same, and I'm just tired of the cranks. Especially when it comes to a highly influential show that people do trust and listen to on a regular basis. Look, I know that he's not a news person. I know that he doesn't want that responsibility, but I'm sorry. If you have an audience that large, whether you like it or not, there's a responsibility that comes along with it. period.
Sure.
So like, just please, if you're gonna comment on these kinds of things, please make sure that you're vetting your information. That's all I'm saying. People get things wrong time to time, but something like this, where it's been discussed and debated over and over again and the information is right there at your fingertips, there's no excuse. Stop pushing ivermectin.
Yeah, have a doctor on. Not a vet,
a real doctor.
Not a vet.
A real doctor. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.